Nathan Nerdarch here, Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, and with me I have
Dave,
my colleagues,
Ryan,
and I'm Ted.
And today we're going to be talking about superheroes and superhero games, and the good, the bad, and the ugly of those games.
to the rescue!
and I've seen some of the characters in our games. They can be quite ugly.
Yeah.
Hideous even.
Yeah, here's looking at you, Sludge. Sludge. So, okay. My first experience with role-playing games for supers goes way back to Marvel FASERIP, the original TSR game. Loved it. I fell in love with it, and then didn't play superhero games for years and years later.
I think I've gotten to play like one or two encounters of that old Marvel superheroes when you drug me and our other brother into playing. Like,
It was probably just combat too.
It was just combat
and
like
making characters.
Jeremy had a character that had his wings ripped off or something like that. Like it was brutal. It was just like, wow, this was like Image Comics before Image Comics was.
They're traumatized.
Yeah. We were like 10.
Well, my first exposure to superhero games was Palladium.
Yes,
There's
Sorry.
me as well.
Huh?
Sorry.
Yeah, Palladium Heroes, where I randomly roll for my powers.
But no.
And some of them are clearly not as good as others.
Yeah, well, FASERIP was the same thing. It was a random back in the 80s, man. Well, Palladium probably has its roots back then as well, so that's
Right.
why it is the way
Well, you know
it
what
is.
the issue is? I'd say the bad about superhero games is that there's, no matter what, I really feel like they're ridiculously unbalanced. I haven't played a good superhero game that wasn't like, there's just some powers that you want superheroes to have, and when they have them, it's ridiculous. And I feel like Palladium's good at that, but Heroes just bumps it up a notch. Travel anywhere in the universe.
Some people get
Right
to
now.
be Superman, and some people get to be like what's a pretty pathetic Plastic Man or something like that. Yeah, like
The guy that just gets bigger and smaller, and that's it.
Right.
That's you haven't really gotten exposure to Mutants and Masterminds, and I feel that one, Dave's the one that actually came across it. That one really does seem to balance things out. There is no let's roll your stuff randomly. Everything's a point buy system.
Did we have a game with Mutants and Masterminds with us, all of us?
we played a fantasy version with it.
I played Mutants and Masterminds with you and Jim, I think.
Okay.
And I felt like that was a bit better.
It is better, but I mean, it still has that same thing where, the power levels can be far apart. Because, irregardless of what you do, if someone builds the Batman character, and they spill coffee all over themselves,
That's a terrible superpower to have.
if someone builds the Batman character and someone builds the Superman character, for the most part,
Batman's not going to be able to hurt Superman
yeah.
unless you find the weakness and exploit it.
So, from a combat standpoint, I mean, that other character can do a lot of cool stuff.
Outside of combat.
But, but in combat, that character that's essentially built for just fighting is always going to be better.
Right.
All right, so you have tremendous swings of bipolar swings of power scale. Like
Yes.
that's one of the bads of the superhero genre.
And-
is just to have it. The level playing field doesn't really exist based on the kinds of character
And the
concepts.
game would be boring if everybody rolled up Superman. So,
Yeah.
someone has to choose to make that off kilter thing. Otherwise, you're not going to enjoy the game. Honestly, I've played all different types of characters, but I've never done I'm super invulnerable, super strong, super flying, whatever. I've had characters that are really, really hard to hurt, but when you find their weakness, it's pretty darn easy. And one of them was water. A water or ice-based attack could really shut him down quick. But
No, I think it just hurt him.
it hurt him pretty good.
So the cons of superhero games has got to be the wide swing of power levels. That's the ultimate one, and then and then I would say the next one is superhero games tend to be nonlinear, where a fantasy game, it's easy to set everything up and build it in a linear fashion or construct from a game master's point of view.
There's a time progression and a story progression that sync up. Whereas with a superhero game, you certainly can lay it out as very episodic. It doesn't require everyone to be there every single time, and you have the ability to just be like, all right, well, this is large overarching plot that just loosely connects to each episode.
Yeah, it's one of the pros of a superhero game is the fact that it's really easy to interchange your players.
You have your Justice League, and the call goes out, and these are the guys that are available. Somebody else is like dealing with, I don't know, the Cuban Missile Crisis or something like that.
Yeah. And they had to travel back in time to do it, but they're doing it.
Because that's what he could do. That was his power. Time travel.
His
power. He's like, I'm making the world a better place.
Well, I plan on running a one-shot game, or running some games in the one-shot group for Mutants and Masterminds, and I'm exactly going to do that. I mean, it was Jim that he came up with the idea for Super Games for you guys, where he's like, you know what, I'm going to make this game. All these people are going to be my players, and when I'm ready to run a game, I'm just going to call everybody.
It was Johnny, actually.
Oh, it was Johnny that did that?
Yeah, Johnny did that.
Okay, so Johnny did that, and whoever I call and shows up is because they were available.
Right.
Which is an awesome idea, and it works really well. And if you read the comics or watch the cartoons, that's kind of how it worked anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Sometimes Superman's in another galaxy fixing stuff.
Yep.
That's right.
Same with Green Lantern. I mean, he's got a whole quadrant.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes all the Justice League is busy, and the C-listers and D-listers have to go.
It's Aquaman and Plastic Man.
Have to go to the parade.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call Aquaman a D-lister.
Well, if he's in the desert, it gets pretty D-listy. What do I do here? If I was in water, this would be awesome. This adventure is not happening in SeaWorld, though.
Well, that's the weird thing about Super's, the genre, not so much the RPG, is the swing in the actual powers to the comics. Because I don't think Aquaman actually has a vulnerability to dehydration. But it's been something that's kind of like come in and out.
Well, no, his whole thing is just that like most of his powers come like he gets more powerful in the sea. Like it's kind of like Namor.
That was Submariner.
Oh, Namor, yeah.
I think he kind of was like a baseline the same. I mean, you take Aquaman out of the ocean and he's still invulnerable and super strong.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the ability to swim, breathe water, and command fish.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Fish Command was sharks, man.
Sharks.
Or Cthulhu.
Sharknado.
Yeah. Or Cthulhu.
I think I've seen that meme where Aquaman summons Cthulhu.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
From the deep.
Yeah, if it doesn't exist, we so have to make it for Nerdarchy.
Yeah. Pretty sure it exists, though. Pretty sure.
Everything exists. It's the internet.
Yeah.
For Cthulhu, everything exists.
Or yeah.
He transcends time and space. Do a Super Cthulhu game.
You could. You just have to come up with a clever punny name for it.
So, we've played Palladium, Mutants and Masterminds, and the old FASERIP.
Marvel superheroes a little bit, yeah.
And there is a ton of other Supers games out there. I mean, we had a chance to sit down and talk to Todd, and he was big into Champions, which, when I was looking for a Supers game, it was between Mutants and Masterminds and Champions, and I went with Mutants and Masterminds because it was a D20 system, and our group was already familiar with that.
Right.
And then after we started playing it, I absolutely fell in love with the point-buy system and the classless system.
Yeah. I think the classless system of Mutants and Masterminds puts it far above, anything that lumps you into a grouping, because you can say, you know what, I just want to make the character that I want to make, and after you assemble all of your powers, if you can group it all together and say, well, I'm this guy, here's my backstory, and make it work, then it's great. If your powers are all over the place and you don't have anything to work with it, then the GM's probably going to shoot that character down. But it's up to your imagination.
Or they could be really cool and help you figure out how it would work.
Well, there's that possibility as well.
You could also do, I could see Fate easily translating into a Supers game.
Yeah, it would, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't done it, but not that it could.
We're going to have to crack open Core Fate at some point and see what
that's about. Because we've only gotten exposure to Fate Accelerated, which was fun, but the season
Scott was supposed to run multiple, Fate encounters for us.
At some point, yeah.
We'll have to get on him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Also, though, our RPGing dance card is pretty full, so it's pretty difficult to get a thing in edgewise. So. Yeah.
Well, we can, but then what happens is what happened the last couple of weeks where we stopped making Nerdarchy videos. Where you guys will get all gameplay videos because we're too busy playing games.
Terrible problems to have. Just awful problems to have. All right, so the cons really not too bad about having non-linear plots because the sort of the benefits
turns into a pro.
The benefits outweigh the cons because it's like whoever I can get to my table, I can still have this ongoing game with recurring characters. It just might be a different cast of characters.
It doesn't mess it. Yeah, as long as you kind of get to a good wrap-up spot every session.
So think of it like a television show.
So pros, you can pretty much, with supers, you can throw anything at the players. You have, complete open imagination. Your cons are you've got this, massive wide spectrum of power, and it's very easy to craft a villain that can just destroy one of your players because it's got to be able to harm your quote-unquote Superman of the group.
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like, too, with super games, you have so much media to draw from. The novels, the comic books, the graphic novels, the movies, the TV shows. Where fantasy, there's a lot of stuff, but not next to supers. There's even more.
Yeah, and you can literally do anything in a supers game. Like, you could have a guy that's from the Old West that got time traveled into modern times, and like his thing is he's just a really crack shot.
He's a good cowboy.
Yeah, he's a really good cowboy.
Vigilante?
Yeah, he could be a vigilante character.
No, that's the name of a character in DC.
Oh yeah,
Vigilante. He's like a cowboy, basically, trick shooter and.
Yeah. Although, next to Superman, he's going to pale.
Well, you list 2 or 3 powers, you can probably say, it's like this character I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they've really, really done a lot with all the different types of powers and all the different types of backstories.
And if you want to play in an established world, or
Mutants and Masterminds actually has the
DC license, yeah. So there's like 4 or 5 books out for DC. I mean, the only downside is you have to play in DC.
I think it would be cooler to play like current times, just so you can with future tech and different things like that.
Or slight future.
We're gonna slight future a little bit ahead of time. Like, hey, we're gonna play in Philly or something.
Well, DC actually has that too because the Legion of Superheroes happens in the future.
Okay.
And there's actually info on that. One of the games I wanted to play for DC, and I just never got around to it, was having my players choose villains of a certain power level and reskin them as heroes. And one of the rules was they're not allowed to tell the other villain, almost like a Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. As I was trying
or
to put my
Suicide
name on.
Squad.
Yeah,
but
you told me the concept was essentially a lot of villains have been caught, and there's something else going on that the heroes aren't always available. So they've approached a handful of different, respectable enough villains and say, look, if you're willing to essentially put on a new outfit and go
repay your debt to society, kind of.
Yeah,
it's like prison work release, really. I mean,
go be a hero. And then from the actual player standpoint, we weren't allowed to tell anybody who we were. And for every session that you kept your identity a secret, you would get an extra reward.
Yeah.
But if somebody found you out, and called you on it,
you got denied your reward.
You got denied your reward, but they got it.
Well, no. Here's the thing, though. From a role playing perspective, I think it should be like you should drop subtle little hints about who you are, because ticks of somebody's personality are always going to break through. Like if you were just getting the Joker or something like that, for him to make like quips or whatever and call himself the hyena. Like I think there should be a chance of somebody discovering it, because if
the Joker would be bad at this
game. No, he would be terrible, and also because he's not the Joker probably can't be reformed whatsoever. He's maniacally insane. But I'm just saying, like, you could do you could be very good at that meta game of it and be a really shitty role player because you're not infusing.
Real quick, before the internet calls me out on this.
Yeah. Yes,
I know that Suicide Squad, DC animated movie, did exactly this, and it starts off with them all waking up, and from unconsciousness, and Amanda Waller's there, and basically gives them the ultimatum, and the one guy's like, "I'm just gonna leave and walk out." And she had implanted bombs in all of their heads, and it starts off with them blowing his head off.
That's awesome.
Yes, I know, and yes, that is the great thing about any kind of role-playing game. There's something out there you can rip off, put it in your game, and have a blast with it.
And unless you stick it all over
or blast it off somebody's head.
Yeah.
So my thing is, like, you could be really good at that metagame and do a really shitty job of role-playing, because if nobody has a chance of guessing what your character is, well... you're not role-playing that character if they don't have a chance of knowing.
The whole point of it is the fun of the mystery and discovery. The out-of-game reward of the extra, power points for leveling is not really,
But I'm just saying it creates a sort of disingenuous.
Well, no, well, here's the
reward.
thing. Like, so as the DM, I go to each player. Okay, what characteristic are you going to let show from your character that in a given session?
Yeah.
And part of them getting the reward is have to role play their character and keep the secret at the same time. Then you kind of refine it.
I feel like that's more apt to like somebody to like play 180 degrees off of the character.
No. What I'm saying is they have to pick a characteristic from that original character and let it shine through at least some.
Yeah.
So if you're playing the Joker, you've got to do the crazy laughter or the jokes,
or the funny gadgets,
or the funny gadgets. There was in the Justice League, there was a alternate universe where like Joker was actually a good guy.
Yeah, everybody was bad was good, and
and he actually sacrificed himself in the beginning of the episode. But I mean, he had those funny gadgets. He was clearly the Joker, but he was a good guy. I forget exactly what he was called, but I mean, it was pretty cool to see that flip side of it. So doing this type of campaign, anyone who's not role playing, I mean, what's the point in playing? You're gonna role play, you're gonna do stuff, and to really be successful, you're gonna have to research. I mean, I'm not a huge DC fan, but I know enough characters, so I'm like, well, let's find something that's a little bit BC lister that is compelling and interesting for me to play. But then you still have to do deeper research, or go read some of the books, or watch some of the shows, and really get involved in the character so that you have the fuel for role playing. And then use your imagination to, as Dave says, put that spin on him to make him into a hero.
I think I'm going with Ryan on this, with the idea that you're already playing a character. Playing a character that's playing a character is difficult.
Yes, that's the challenge.
That was kind of the point.
That's the fun.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I could see it going where it's just not
I would
there.
say just extra reward somebody that figures things out versus like penalizing people for possibly doing intentionally mediocre role playing. Like basically like, no, I'm going to be so like stoic and like against type with this character. No, they're going to figure.
Then you're not going to get
like,
your reward for role playing your character properly.
That could just be this is like a really specific style of setting up a heroes game, but I mean, it can be all up to the DM, GM, whatever.
Well, and that's just
Or
it. But
whether
I mean,
or
there's a
not
lot
you
of
do.
different types of games.
Yeah.
That was just an idea I had for running DC Heroes.
But anyway, it's superhero games. You can set it pretty much anywhere you want. Like, it could be in the Old West, but like people with mutant powers. I actually have a concept for a game that I don't know if I'll ever get around to running. Well, a couple ones. Like, one would be fun to do in the Tick universe.
Yeah.
So everybody just makes ridiculous superheroes characters. Another one, kind of doing like the Roaring Twenties, sort of a street level superhero game. So like Gangland Chicago. So yeah, your early proto superheroes, but fighting like gangsters, mobsters and stuff.
Well,
like
and
that.
that's it too. Like you have the golden age of superheroes, the silver age of superheroes, bronze, and they break. It gets broken down. At least Mutants and Masterminds does, and it kind of like lets you know what the feel is for those different eras of comic books.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, like you said, you could play a street level game like your Daredevil, Punisher characters. All the way up to the cosmic level game, which is like your Green Lanterns, Adam Warlock.
Dimensional
When you start
alien.
getting
Man.
into space and other dimensions and
Yeah.
stuff like that, yeah. So yeah, it's a whole nother strat. Like, and you don't want to be Daredevil or the Punisher, like going adventuring with the Green Lantern. Like it's like, I can't breathe even.
Stick me in your bubble so you can take me somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that's what we call playing Palladium.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I will be Chico, the pool boy. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of essentially there's a lot of variants you can do within that genre. I mean, pretty much all the genres have subgenres that you can go with.
Always. Yeah.
Super's game. There's a lot of pros. I don't feel like there's a lot of cons. You have to be into
You have
that,
to enjoy the genre. Like,
be
that's
into that
the important-
genre. Yeah.
As, I mean, with any role playing game, if you don't enjoy playing in a genre, then there's really not.
Well, I mean, but like some people in their group of like people they role play with, like some people have a real itch to do one type of game, and like nobody in their group has any interest in doing a type of deal. Yeah, I mean, so sometimes it's like everyone in your group is like, nope, won't do anything that's not D&D or whatever, whatever the game system of choice is amongst your.
I kind of feel like we were like that for a long time.
I was gonna say
not intentionally though. We just were we just never left our comfort zone.
right. It was just like, well, this is D&D. We play D&D.
Play D&D.
Yeah,
And
play
we
D&D.
And then there's just like the fact that like it's like $30 plus a shot per book, so like there's just like a barrier to entry of like the cost, like, and you have like 5 people.
When you're new to the workforce, or when you're a starving college kid, it's rough to say, what, let me go invest all this money in a new set of core books. If I really like it, does that mean I'm going to have to start buying all these extra splat books and this and that?
And when you're broke and and you're fighting crime and you're struggling to make rent, and Aunt May, she just needs money because she's feeling sick, and then you're Spider-Man because you have real world problems. Spider-Man, the working class superhero. That's right.
It's just like that.
It's just like that.
Just
He should have took a 10% cut as a reward, and he would be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there is all those photos he sells himself to J. Jonah
Yeah,
Jameson.
So with that, my spider sense is tingling, telling me this video is about done. So you guys can like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Check us out on Facebook.
Or hang out with us on nerdarchy.com.
You can also join the conversation over at our subreddit, Nerdarchy, How to Stay Nerdy.
Until next time,
Stay nerdy.